Number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Intervlog. I said, this is Intervlog. Today, we are not merely talking about a building. No, we are talking about a miracle written in concrete and steel, a triumph of leadership, and the rise of a new symbol of hope and pride in the heart of the Sahel. We are talking about the stadium that President Captain Ibrahim Traoré has delivered to his people, the best stadium in the Sahel, and guess what? He did it in record time. Wow, can you imagine? In a region where projects usually drag on for decades, here comes Traoré, young, determined, visionary, and he says, it will be done. And in the blink of an eye, it is done. Amazing. Let us pause for a moment, because this stadium is not just about concrete, steel, seats, or turf. It is about Burkina Faso, showing the world that Africans can do great things fast, with dignity, and with sovereignty. It is about a nation rising from years of underestimation to stand tall as a model of efficiency. When Ibrahim Traoré announced the project, many doubted. They said, it will take 10 years, maybe 15. But Traoré proved them wrong. In a short time, he turned dust into a fortress, sand into stone, and dreams into reality. Wow, this is the power of leadership. Think of it this way. A house built with determination is stronger than a palace built with hesitation. That is exactly what this stadium represents. A parable in action. Now, what makes this stadium even more special is the urgency with which it was built. In other African countries, stadium projects are like endless stories. Announced today, but completed when children have grown into adults. But Traoré said, Burkina Faso cannot wait. Our youth cannot wait. Our future cannot wait. And so, he mobilized everyone. The engineers, the soldiers, the youth, the farmers, the artisans, and together, they created something that today the world is clapping for. This is like the parable of the farmer who saw clouds gathering in the sky. Instead of waiting, he ran to plant his seeds. And because he acted quickly, he harvested before the storm. That is Traoré. He planted with urgency, and today Burkina Faso harvests glory. Let's be honest. This speed did not come from magic. It came from the discipline of the military and the will of the people. Traoré used the same strategy that won battles against insecurity to win the battle against slow development. He deployed military engineers who have been building roads, bridges, and hydro-agricultural infrastructure. They brought military discipline, order, and precision. No delays, no excuses, no corruption. Just work, work, and more work. And in the end, the result is the best stadium in the Sahel. Wow. Like the parable says, a disciplined army can build peace faster than a lazy crowd can build a wall. The discipline of Burkina Faso's armed forces became the engine of this miracle. But what really touches my heart is that this was not just a project of foreign companies parachuting into Burkina Faso. No! This was a Burkinabe project by Burkinabe hands for Burkinabe pride. Local cement, local steel, local stone. Everything that could be sourced locally was sourced. And the youth, oh, the youth. Thousands of young Burkinabe gave their energy, their sweat, their creativity to this project. The stadium is not just a building, it is the fingerprint of the nation. A parable for us. The tree that grows in your courtyard gives sweeter fruit than the one that comes from far away. This stadium, grown from Burkinabe soil, built by Burkinabe hands, will always taste sweeter to the people than a borrowed project imposed by others. Now think about this. In the middle of the Sahel, a region often associated with war, hardship, and poverty, there now rises a modern stadium that meets international standards. This is not just for football. This is a fortress of culture, music, festivals, and Pan-African unity. This is where young men and women will run, sing, play, and show the world that the Sahel is not only about struggle, but also about celebration. Wow, what a transformation. This is like the parable. The desert that receives water becomes a garden. In the same way, the Sahel that received vision has become a land of joy. Let's compare. In other African countries, building a stadium can take 10 years, sometimes 20. Millions wasted, contracts delayed, corruption everywhere. But here comes Captain Traoré, and within a short time, boom! The best stadium in the Sahel is standing tall. This is a new standard. From now on, when people talk about speed, they will say, as fast as Traoré's stadium. From now on, when people talk about efficiency, they will say, as disciplined as Burkina Faso. This is the legacy being written today. Wow. Imagine. Even mighty nations with bigger budgets have struggled with stadium projects. Yet Burkina Faso, under sanctions, under pressure, with limited resources, has delivered one in record time. This is not just success. This is revolution. But brothers and sisters, this story is not just for Burkina Faso. It is for Africa. Because when one African nation rises, all of Africa rises. This stadium is proof that Africans can do it. We don't need to wait for foreign aid. We don't need to wait for external approval. We can mobilize our own resources, our own people, and achieve greatness. This stadium is a message to Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Morocco, Algeria, South Africa, and beyond. Yes, you can. And the message comes from a young captain who is not afraid to dream and to deliver. As a parable says, when the child of the village climbs the tree, all the children enjoy the fruit. Burkina Faso climbed the tree of ambition, and today all of Africa is tasting the fruit of inspiration. And let us not forget, the stadium is also a fortress of sovereignty. In the old days, such projects would be tied to foreign loans, foreign conditions, and foreign control. But Traoré refused that. He said, "This is ours. It will be a monument of pride." And so, this stadium stands today not as a burden, but as a blessing. Not as a chain, but as a crown. A parable to explain. The goat that eats from its own barn does not bow to the stranger's whip. Burkina Faso has eaten from its own barn, built with its own resources, and now it stands tall, unbowed. Imagine the young boy in Ouagadougou who walks into this stadium for the first time. His eyes wide, his heart racing, and he says, "Wow, this is in my country?" Imagine the little girl in Bobo Dioulasso who watches a match here and says, "I too can dream big, because my country believes in me." These are the stories that will inspire generations. This stadium is not just about football. It is about planting seeds of hope in the hearts of millions. This is how nations are built. Not only with cement, but with confidence. Not only with structures, but with stories. Stories of victory. Stories of pride. Stories of independence. Friends, if you know Intervlog, you know we are always excited about progress. We shouted, "Wow," when tractors were brought in. We shouted, "Wow," when potatoes, tomatoes, wheat, and rice filled the fields. We shouted, "Wow," when factories rose and fish farms floated. And today we are shouting the loudest, "Wow," because a stadium, yes, a stadium of world-class standards, has risen in record time under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. This is beyond politics. This is beyond economy. This is about identity, pride, and destiny. So here is the challenge. If Burkina Faso, under sanctions, under pressure, in the middle of the Sahel, can build the best stadium in record time, then what excuse do bigger, richer African nations have? None. The excuse is gone. The standard has been set. The bar has been raised. From now on, every African leader who delays will face the question, why not like Traoré? And this is how one young man, one leader, one captain is reshaping the future of a continent. So, friends of Intervlog, let us celebrate, let us clap, let us cheer, let us shout, because today we are witnessing history. The best stadium in the Sahel has been built, and it was built not in decades, not in years, but in record time, by a captain who refuses to be ordinary, by a president who believes in his people, by a leader who is rewriting Africa's story. Wow, this is Burkina Faso. Wow, this is Ibrahim Traoré. Wow, this is the Sahel rising. And let me leave you with a final parable. When the lion builds a den, the cubs walk with pride. Today, Captain Ibrahim Traoré has built a den of pride for Burkina Faso, and every Burkinabe walks taller because of it. Burkina Faso has received a major boost ahead of upcoming international fixtures as the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has officially reinstated the August 4th stadium in Ouagadougou for international competition. The iconic venue had been unavailable for the past 4 years due to concerns over its facilities and infrastructure, forcing the Burkinabe national team to play home matches in alternative stadiums across the region. CAF's decision follows significant renovation, works to upgrade the stadium to meet required standards, including improvements to the pitch, seating, lighting, and security systems. The news means that the Burkina Faso national team could finally return to their preferred home ground as early as the next international break, much to the delight of players, officials, and fans alike. A return to the August 4th stadium is expected to provide the Stallions with a significant home advantage, given the passionate support they typically enjoy in Ouagadougou. This is the end of our program today. See you on Intervlog same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you for watching Intervlog. Thank you.